Today I would like to continue the discussion about fairy tales. Let's discuss the Bremen town musicians, which is not so well known. Can you give a bit of a background?
Yes, as I mentioned before, I became very interested in Grimm's fairy tales when I was a child growing up in Germany. Many of them are totally appropriate for adults. They are wonderful learning situations and guides to both adults and children. The particular one, the Bremen town musicians, starts out with a donkey that has served his time with his good master, and he is being kind of discharged from the services, and he realizes that his life does not have much to offer. He goes on a journey. He decides to make his own way, and he finds 3 other animals which follow along with him, and they actually end up making a good life for themselves. The way the story is told is that the donkey decides, I'm not going to die, I'm not going to just lie here and feel abandoned, I'm going to go forward. And he goes and decides he's going to become a town musician in Bremen, and he's going to take a walk there. On his way, he finds a dog that is lying in the gutter, very sad, saying, my life is gone, I'm old, nobody wants me. The donkey says to him, come with me, I'm going to become a musician. And the dog decides to join. A little further down, they find a cat that is in the same position, old and abandoned. And the cat says, I have no way to find food, I'm going to die. And again, the 2 animals say, come with us, we are going to become town musicians. They go on a little further and they find another animal, they find a rooster. And the rooster said, this is my last day, they're going to chop off my head tonight and I'm going to be cooked in the soup. All animals are saying, come with us, we are going to be musicians. The interesting psychological aspect of this is that it takes one leader, it takes one person to strike out and to go on a path that is positive. That person can recruit other people and help other people as well as helping himself at the same time. As the animals go on, they pass a house of robbers, as in bad people. They make noises which they thought was music, which scares the robbers, and they run from the house. The way the story ends is that the robbers become totally panicked. They feel that there is a witch in the house and they abandon the house. The animals decide to stay in that house and live happily thereafter. Again, the moral of the story is that they had a different goal. They were going to become musicians. But what really happened is they found a way to survive and all be happy. The interesting part, the story particularly points out that when they arrived at the house, they each chose a different sleeping area. The donkey was sleeping in a patch of grass outside. The rooster flew up into the tree. The dog and the cat stayed in the house near the fireplace. In other words, none of the animals directed the other one of how to live. They each allowed each other to stay in their own realm. Many times we see that if somebody becomes depressed and sad, other people try to impose their lifestyle on people, saying, you ought to do this and you ought to do that. This story points out that it has to come from within. You have to follow your own path and you have to be left alone.
The other issue that this story brings up is age. And it's an interesting story because it suggests that old age pushes you to do new things, and you can strike out and have a good life. Can you discuss a bit more?
Yes, and I think that in particular, this is why I feel this story very much speaks to people that already have finished one career, that may be elderly, or people that are simply tired of a particular lifestyle that they have been pursuing. Particularly in older age, many people do not wish to pursue hobbies, particularly in the United States, where you go to the grocery store, you buy your food. You can actually even have food delivered to your door as an elderly person, which in a way takes away the responsibility from pursuing your own lifestyle and therefore also pursuing your own goals and happiness.
There's also the issue that the robbers in the house felt so guilty. They had such a guilty conscience that they fled, assuming that there were witches outside. It's also a very clear morality tale in terms of right and wrong, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it particularly shows the animals did not feel negative about possessing their house because the fairy tale describes them as bad people. So therefore, what happened is if it were a community, for instance, it would improve, because here, instead of having bad people, you have elderly, positive people living in your neighborhood.
What do you think about the various characters of the animals? Do you think they were trying to show that the donkey was somehow stubborn and had a crazy idea about becoming a musician in this far-off city? Or do you think the donkey was actually wise?
I think the donkey was actually wise, and the donkey drew on his own personality. Like for a donkey to decide to become a musician seems far out. And again, the goal that he set for himself was not really the end result that led to his happiness. The moral of the story is that set a goal, do something, be positive, inspire other people, but let them be who they are.
Thank you very much.